running for their lives. Anti-coup protesters in Myanmar are increasingly coming under fire. Since the military seized power in February, it has ramped up its use of deadly force with devastating consequences. Over the weekend, dozens of people were killed. The escalation in violence came after several Chinese-run factories were set on fire during protests on March 14. The crackdown from the authorities was swift and brutal. The junta has now declared martial law in parts of Yangon. More than 140 people have been killed since the military takeover. Kyu Chi-tin's 17-year-old son, a medical student, was shot dead. "He's a good boy," she says, "but now I have lost him. Now I have sacrificed my son." Days of protests are followed by days of mourning. Despite the grief and the trauma, the resistance against the military shows no signs of ending.
I don't want to live under the military junta. That's why I'm going out on the streets, even though I'm afraid, and I'm trying to avoid the danger as much as I can.
Now, the people are balancing on a tightrope, so if we fall from the rope, we could die suddenly.
Defiance in the face of an ever-growing death toll. Alongside demands for an end to the coup and a recommitment to democracy, demonstrators have urged the international community to intervene. Those calls have been heard and answered by some nations. The US and the UK have both condemned the junta and imposed sanctions on military officials, including the coup leader, General Min Aung Hlaing.
In Burma, the military is attempting to overturn the results of a democratic election and is brutally repressing peaceful protesters.
Myanmar's northern neighbour, China, has expressed concern over the recent attacks on Chinese property and its citizens in Yangon, but says protesters need to express their demands legally.
We hope all parties in Myanmar can keep calm and restrained. This is in the fundamental interests of Myanmar people.
But should there be a political solution from inside the region? Is it time for ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, to step in? They have, after all, had first-hand experience of engaging with the military. In the 1990s, ASEAN brought Myanmar in from the cold when it invited the country to join the Union after decades of diplomatic isolation. While ASEAN does have a policy of non-interference, in recent weeks it's called on all parties to refrain from further violence. So should a regional diplomatic effort be at the core of the global response to help bring an end to the crisis? Natalie Pohonen, The Newsmakers.